spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed that snow that happened on Monday and Tuesday. It was ridiculous. I did not expect us to have that much snow. It hasn't snowed that much in like years. I want to say 5, but I don't know. It's been forever. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay warm, stay safe. And want to welcome you guys back to a new series that we're calling The Brooklyn Way. You already know. You already know. But I hope you guys enjoy it. It's gonna be about love and relationships and different things of those sorts. And before we start off and kick off our new series, we're gonna have Christian lead us with a game.
Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
What's up, guys? It's Christian, and today we have a game revolved around the central idea that we had. And you know when you see one of your friends or someone you know and you can't tell it's them because they're wearing their face mask? Coronavirus. We have a game today, and it's basically showing different people in the youth group that are wearing their mask, and you have to guess what face they're doing. So first up, we have Sean. Sean's wearing his mask, as you can see, and what face do you think he's making underneath it? Is it a mad face? Is it a smiley face? Is it a happy? Is it sad, angry, depressed? Something like that. Comment down below. And yeah. So if you guessed smiley face, then you were correct, or happy. Either one of those work. So next we have Ilani, and Ilani's wearing her mask right now, and now you have to guess her face. Is it serious? Is it angry? Is it mad? Is it sad? Is it happy? Something like that. So comment down below. So if you guess serious, mad, or angry, that was correct. We all have a fake mask for each person or for each situation that we're in. And it might be toward people, or it might be toward someone you know, like your family or a friend that you have. And because of the fact that we're in a series called Relationships, we should not have that mask up, and we should be more of our authentic self toward people.
Christian for that wonderful game. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below. And right now we're going to kick it off with Brandon with his talk.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to our new series. This is going to be the first week, and we're going to do this a little bit differently this time, right? So as y'all know, like, shouts out to Biggie, R.I.P. Biggie, but spread love, it's the Brooklyn way, you know? And if you hear some giggling in the background, you know, I am joined by AQ, aka Alex.
What's up, guys?
And so instead of doing this like we've been doing in the past, where there's a lot of talks, we're talking about relationships, and we're gonna make this kind of relational in just our dialogue and conversations. So AQ, you want to like introduce yourself just a little bit and stuff?
Yeah. So what's up, guys? Like B was saying, I'm AQ. My actual name Alex, but I'm another youth minister here in Brooklyn. I am a Catholic speaker, a passionate Lego enthusiast.
Wow, a Lego
man, that came out of nowhere. Yikes!
That is the first time I've ever heard that one. Okay.
Yeah, but I've known B for a while. Funny enough, he actually was a speaker and musician on one of my retreats in high school. And so he and I go back a little bit. And then since moving to Brooklyn and becoming a youth minister, he and I have been collaborating more on different projects, and especially through Young Life. And so, yeah, he's just a good guy, good bro. And I'm happy to be here and happy to do this and to talk with him about relationships.
Yeah. So, all right. So, part of the reason why, and this was funny, even talking with my teens, is we were talking about what our next series is going to be, right? So, during this time of the year, usually like people are thinking about Valentine's Day, you know, and that's that relationship aspect of things. But usually that's romantic relationships, right?
Yeah, of course.
And one of my teens was like, well, can we talk about friendships too? And it was funny. A priest I know brought this up to me recently. A lot of teens are having difficulties with friendships, right? This priest came to me and he said one of his teens from his parish, and this is a priest I know that's good in youth ministry, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, one of his teens came up to him and was like, how do I go talk to people? It's
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. No, that's
it sounds crazy,
no,
but like,
no, it's cool.
I think when we put in perspective of everything, what this last year's been like,
Yeah.
Just social media and everything, text and technology in general, just everything. I think it's been a little different. So, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I asked you initially is you are engaged, right?
Yep.
So, do you guys have like a timeline, or are you guys looking for any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we're moving towards marriage, of course, which is an amazing gift to be in the engagement. I wouldn't even call it process. I'd call it the engagement period, that time where you're learning what your relationship looks like, being engaged to this other person. And so, we're getting married August 14th, St. Maximilian Kolbe's feast day, which is, exciting for both of us.
Very Catholic.
I know. Hey, what a surprise. But yeah, I would say like the engagement process is definitely a different kind of relationship. It's like I almost compare it to like the diaconate, just because, like or a transitional deacon, where they're moving towards priesthood. They know that's what they're going for, but they're still getting ready for it. And so that's kind of how we're viewing engagement. We're like, it's a step above when we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And so there's definitely a lot more movements of the Holy Spirit going on in it.
That's an interesting comparison that you make it to the diaconate. I think because I find myself saying this a lot lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is super like uber Catholic, right? But our concept of sacrament, right? Our reality of sacrament, our like what sacraments are, right? Dictionary, catechism definition is visible signs of God's invisible grace, right?
Yeah.
And so there's always that visible part and then the invisible part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like the visible part of baptism is the water, right? Yep. The visible part of Eucharist is obviously the hosts, right? Yeah. But when it comes to marriage, the visible part, like I remember like doing sacramental prep, and me even being for the show, I never thought this through. And the priest that did this with us, he was like, okay, what's the visible part? And I'm like, the rings? I don't know. And he's like, nah, the people. Yeah. Like we become the sacrament. So we are the sign of God's invisible grace to the world. Yeah. And so it makes sense, like again, looking at the priestly ordination as also another sacrament, diaconate being in between. That's a dope comparison. I've just never heard that.
No, it's literally, I mean, I'd never thought about it until I was in engagement. And it's only because like my own dad is going through the diaconate process right now as a permanent deacon, not as a transitional one. And it was something that started making me think about. I was like, okay, he's preparing to receive this sacrament. I'm preparing to receive a sacrament. Where can the comparisons and the lines be drawn? As a priest I know would say, where's the connect? So
yeah, okay. So we're talking about relationships. Yeah. I mean, I guess since we're already there, is anything you want to say? Because I think, right, we can talk about like you and your soon-to-be wife and all that. But I think also we can talk about like there are certain relationships that kind of prepare us, right? Like there's throughout our lives that like people that we meet, like have there been things like that for you? Yeah.
So first off, I actually want to really quickly say to like the kid who was asking like, how do I talk to people? This will be like a super short answer. Might be a little obvious, but like you go up and talk to them. And I think, and I'm not saying that to be like rude or anything, but the truth is that feeling you have, that longing for, I want new friends, I want to connect. You'd be surprised how many people actually share that. And so I think it's hard, but if you just put yourself out there and you're willing to try and meet someone new, then at least in my experience, most of the time, just going up, as long as the person already isn't a jerk, which like you wouldn't want them as a friend anyways, in that case, they'll probably be like, okay, cool. Like, let's talk, let's chat. So relationships, and was there anything that prepared me for my engagement? Yeah, 100%. I think the most obvious would be like my dating track record, which that makes it sound really bad, but obviously the women that I'm sorry, that's how it's got to be put, but like the women that I, dated, whether it was, a relationship, whether it was taking them out on a date, whether it was, I don't know, something serious or something short term, whatever it was. I mean, I only had, I think, 2 previous girlfriends before I met my fiance, but there was definitely, other women that I'd taken out on dates. I think all of those things help form you for your spouse to a certain degree, because you meet people, and this is what I was telling my younger sister right now, who is going through kind of this process in college of like, well, I want to meet my husband, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, Lily, just be open to meeting and dating people. And so I think for me, having all these different experiences with different people, it taught me a lot about what I am looking for in a spouse. I'm looking for someone faithful. I'm looking for someone understanding. I'm looking for someone compassionate and kind and seeking the truth. And then it also taught me a lot about, well, what am I offering? And I think that's
a tougher question to
for real
ask of yourself.
Because I'll say this, like, I'll be honest, I had some women call me out in my dating history where they were like, I would not want to marry you, or I would not want to. And it's fine, because I think that's I think that's normal. Maybe if it's not, then I'm
shouts out to y'all. Matt, shouts out to y'all for say like they didn't want to marry him. You know what I'm saying? Because now,
yikes,
made him prepared for Taylor, right?
Taylor, yeah.
So y'all did the assist.
Maybe that was a bit of an extreme.
It was an alley oop. Y'all threw the alley oop. You know what I'm saying?
Point is, I had women who said, I don't want to be in a relationship with you after getting to know me for a little bit. And it wasn't, I'll be honest, it wasn't anything. For some of them, yes, it was hurtful. For others, it wasn't hurtful. It was just matter of fact. But the point is, like, when you're with another person who's not someone that you normally have spent your life with, or that you have really interacted with before, you're going to learn things about yourself as long as you're open to it. If you don't go in thinking, oh, I'm so great, like they're lucky to date me, then you're going to quickly learn, like, there are things you do that, you've done your whole life that will annoy certain people or be really endearing. And so it's I'd say my biggest blessing from all of that was learning what parts of myself I'm willing to change for another person for the sake of love, and not in a
let me just say this: in marriage, that's going to continue to happen. There's things that I realize, especially when you have kids. Like, there's things that, like, I'm like, oh man, and I have to eat that. I have to swallow that. Like, oh, they're doing that because I do that. I leave stuff around. I do, And what's messed up is now I just said that out loud. My wife is gonna see this and she's gonna be like, yeah, thanks or whatever, and tag me and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, oh man, yeah, you have to interacting with other people.
Yeah,
if you're open to it, there's a reflection of self.
The other thing I wanted to say real quick is, so I mentioned, my dating history a little bit, which I think that's probably what most people will go to thinking about in regards to, like, okay, I've met my spouse. What has prepared me for this dating history? The other thing I would say is actually the really holy friendships I've had, where there's an amazing couple I've been friends with for almost, let me think, sophomore year of college, so almost like 6 years now, 5 years, something like that. JM and Becca. And JM was he is a very close guy friend of mine. He's actually going to be one of my groomsmen. And so having that friendship with him, of course, it's good to have holy men in your corner who'll call you out, on your crap when you're not being a good boyfriend or you're not being a good fiance. Who'll say to you, hey, you need to get, yourself together. You need to get in line, because otherwise, so-and-so isn't going to want to be with you. The other side of it is having that really holy friendship with a good woman, where there's honestly, there's no seeking a relationship with this person. There's no, oh, will they, won't they sort of thing. It's just someone who is a sister in Christ who you can see is a holy woman. And I think for me, I mean, I've had, I've been blessed to have good female relationships, good female friendships like that, where I have women who've shown me, this is what a woman of God looks like. This is someone who is not going to let me just get away with not living up to my title as a son of God.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, that's dope. I mean, that usually is a little more difficult, and it's a little like you got to tread lightly with those kind of things. But yeah. So I mean, is there anything that you feel like, if you were to say for you, like, this is, I don't know, like I would think of it like I don't know, like you had to tattoo it on your forehead. I'm just making it exaggerated,
Yeah.
you know, like this is the reminder that I know that I need, or especially you, maybe when you were in high school that you needed, that maybe you have now that would help you with relationships. What would you say like some of those things are?
Shoot. I would say number one, just because I think I always need this in general anyways, be humble. Yeah.
In the words of the prophet Kendrick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be humble.
Be
sit
humble.
down.
Yep. I think that's definitely something because a lot of us, of course, go into relationships, and this applies not just with romantic, but across the board. Be humble in friendships. Be humble in professional relationships. Be humble in, romantic relationships, because when you're humble, there's a certain openness to who that other person is. You're not expecting them to play on your terms alone. You're actually open to meeting them where they are at and who they actually are. And so, yeah, I think being humble, if I could go back and tell high school Alex that, I would smack him upside the head and say, dude, chill. Like, just be humble, be open, get to know people, and just like love them for who they are, if that makes sense, and not for who you want them to be.
Yeah, I think especially like we live in such a like social media. I mean, I don't know, not for nothing. Like even people who aren't necessarily hip hop heads, hip hop influences so much of the culture. That male bravado, like I'm the best, like it kind of like seeps into a lot of our mentality. You know what I'm saying? But I think of like Christ when he says like there's no greater love than this, when you lay your life down for a friend, right? And laying down your life doesn't literally mean like the thugs are selling drugs on a corner or like, you know what I'm saying, having shootouts and you're like, I'm gonna jump in front of a bullet for you.
Yeah.
Now there may come a point where things like that happen and a true follower of Christ be open to that. But a lot of times the laying down is more of the being humble, is laying down your life in a sense of like being open. Like I think of my best friend, V, who's my best man in my wedding.
Yeah.
Like V, like, yo, we go back. Like I remember high school girlfriend cheated on me. You know what I'm saying? Like got real quick. But like I called him and I was like, bro, I need you. And he's like, y'all be there in an hour. Was there. You know what I'm saying? V's the type person like will give you something like off his back. Like I remember so much so he's had some difficult relationship stuff. Like I remember him going out his way for females and they did him dirty. You know what I'm saying? But it's a part of his like natural way of being. But I think there's a lot that all of us can learn from that.
Well, and I think it's funny. I think Mama T would say in response to that, because there's kind of that fear of like, well, what if I am a good person? What if I am like that person who will lay down my life and like, sorry for this, but like I get screwed over. Like, what do I do then? She would say in response, and I don't remember the exact quote, so I'm paraphrasing here, but she'd say, do it anyways. Because it's better, because it says more about you if you're willing to be that open person, if you're willing to be that self-sacrificing person, than it does about the people that you're sacrificing for. Yeah. And I mean, we see that most visibly. I was going to say, we see that most visibly, right there, literally that says way more about, Jesus than us. It tells us about us that he's willing to do that for us, but honestly, it shows us what kind of God he is, that he would do that for us.
No,
got real.
I'm saying, I mean, it's one of those things like we forget that because we see that image so often, right? Yeah. That it almost becomes kind of cliche. We wear it on chains. It's tattooed on. Is that and it just becomes like a thing. Oh, a cross is just like it's almost more of a fashion statement than an actual, symbol of that laying the life down.
I want to say the other thing is, so it's cool that you mentioned this, but yeah, laying your life down is definitely more than taking a bullet for someone, which of course, like, Jesus shows us that's the extreme it can go to. It can go to dying for that other person. But I've found in my life, sometimes it's harder, not to die, but like it's harder to die in the little ways. Sorry, that got jambled for a second. But yeah, I find it hard sometimes to die in the little ways. Like just as an example, in my, with my fiance, she was having, a rough day. I didn't know any of this at the time. She was having a rough day. And so like, I literally had just gotten off of work and studying for like, probably like 10 hours altogether. And I had just sat down, like on my couch. I was about to like turn on, Netflix or Hulu or whatever. And literally she texted me, she's like, can you go to the store and get me this? And I'm just thinking, I'm like, I really don't want to. I was like, I really don't. And she doesn't know this, like, but I'm like, I just sat my butt down, like, I'm
Let
comfy.
me just say this. That's not going to change your marriage.
I know.
I'm just saying, like, I deal with it all the time.
Literally.
Like,
Oh, man.
I could have ran the dopest retreat, like, you know what I'm saying, transform lives, and I still got to get home, change diaper, and take out the trash. You know what I'm saying? So.
But that's exactly the point. Is like that's how we're called to lay down our lives. Is like even especially as men, even when we're feeling exhausted, even when we've just worked our butts off for the entire day or weekend or whatever, the gift of being able to take ourselves off of that comfy couch and go to the store or change your daughter's diaper or whatever or anything like that. That's what really laying down your life looks like in the day to day.
Yeah, and let me just add this in there. I mean, so if any of this is resonating with you, usually in all these streams we do that. Like, hey, comment below. Have you been through a situation like that where like someone either you did something for somebody and they you went out of your way for them and they curved you, like they just kind of shot that down. They didn't return that. Or have you been in a situation where like you were at the point of exhaustion and you still had to do something for somebody else? Like I could just like comment. We could talk about that on our Zoom and stuff afterwards too. But yeah, Alex, major thoughts. How did you and Taylor meet? How did you take me through like that process, like y'all meeting to growing to now?
So I want to give the full context for this because if I tell you how we met, it's going to sound just lame. But so basically, so at that time when we met, it was like the end of summer 2019. Yeah, I think that's the right time, 2019, because we were going into 2020. Year of the pandemic. But yeah, so it was the end of summer 2019, and I was starting out as a youth minister, and I made the decision. I was like, you know what, Lord, because knowing my own personal track record and knowing my own, inclinations and thing, I was like, I'm not going to pursue anyone. I'm not going to chase after women. I want to be focused on you and the mission that you've set me apart for. So if you want me to be with someone, they're going to have to reach out to me. And so
that's funny. I mean, I was in the same place. I was like, women, y'all drama. Jesus, I need you. That's where I was at when I met my wife. So
yeah. But literally, so I was in that position. Taylor was also in a position where, so she had just, I love my fiance. She's a convert to the faith. She has an amazingly beautiful story. So she's been Catholic, I want to say like 3-4 years now. And a big part of her conversion was through the organization Focus, Fellowship of Catholic University Students, which is a missionary organization that seeks to help evangelize students in secular universities. And so that's kind of how she was brought into the faith. She was in college, she was brought in through them, and then she decided to dedicate a portion of her life to them. And so she was being a missionary out in Santa Barbara, California. And basically, Focus has your first year, there's a dating fast. So you're not allowed to date, you're not allowed, so that way you can be totally focused on the mission. And so she had just, I think, come off of that. And she herself also personally was feeling ready for a relationship. And so she signed up with a friend on Catholic Match because I think they had like a discount or something like that, and she had done it, I believe, to kind of support this friend. And
that's kind of dope, actually. That's kind of funny, but that's kind of dope.
Well, and this is why I said this is why I had to give the full context, because if I just said we met on Catholic Match, spoiler, that would look pretty bad. But no, I also signed up with a buddy of mine who was as kind of a support to him because he wanted to do it. He didn't want to do it alone. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I was like, this is fine. I'm not planning on using it really. I'm not, going to be pursuing anyone. And literally.
And that's an example also what you were just saying about the good friendships. Y'all good friendships actually led y'all to something. So.
And so it's funny because literally the first week I was on Catholic Match, the first person who messaged me was Taylor. And And I think I had mentioned in my profile, like, I like puns or something. And so she was like, yo, before I really lay on the charm, like, tell me one of your puns. And so I was like, who is this chick from California, other side of the country, literally messaging me? And I think the pun I gave her was dumb. It was really dumb. It was like, I was cooking in the kitchen and It was like I was cooking in the kitchen and I got like too much thyme on my hand or something like that. And if you know what thyme is, it's a cooking spice.
Yeah, got you. If you don't know what a pun is, it
was bad.
It's poetry. It's a poetic thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's dad jokes. But so, anywho, for whatever reason, this is how I know I think she liked me, because that bad of a pun, she still wanted to talk to me. And we just started chatting. We started flowing, and I think by the end of week 1, we had like we'd had like a video call, all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of straight up asked her, because I just started my job, and I was like, hey, you're in California, I'm in Brooklyn. How realistically do you see this playing out? Because like, I don't want to, like, I'm open to long distance. I don't want to do it for more than a year though, because I haven't, had a great positive experience with that. And she told me, and I think it was actually perfect for kind of kickstarting this idea of becoming a man worthy of a woman of God, was she said, I would be willing to move if I had a reason. And so
it's real. Yo.
Yeah. And so basically we started dating, and
AKA, you better give me a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
At least she kept it real.
Was cool. Yeah. And so like, we didn't jump straight into girlfriend and boyfriend or whatever. We didn't feel that pressure, because big part for us was we wanted to see each other in person. We wanted to have those physical interactions of being able to hold her hand, to hug her, to walk around, a town with her, before we said, yeah, you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend. But we made it clear, we're like, yeah, we're not interested in anyone else.
Well, it's the courtship process that exactly. I think a lot of people skip that, you know?
And it's okay. Like, it's okay to court someone. It's okay to, like, you don't have to be boyfriend and girlfriend with them to like, I think a lot of that comes from an insecurity of wanting to lock the person down.
And not for nothing, hold up. Courtship does not mean friends with benefits.
Nope.
That is not what we're saying here.
Heck nah.
That is not what that means. That means y'all are talking, y'all are getting to know each other, y'all are vibing, y'all are kicking it. Like,
I would even say this is something I've told my younger sister, which is like, it's being mature enough to be open about the fact that you like this person without feeling the need to lock them down, where you can let them know your feelings and say, yeah, I'm attracted to you. I want to get to know you better on that level.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But so, yeah, it wasn't until probably a month into talking with her where, I finally made it out to Santa Barbara. I flew out there, which my parents were kind of like, what if you're getting catfished? Which I was like, I don't think I am, but
it would be like, you ever seen the movie Taken? You're gonna get a phone call. Only difference is you're not a daughter.
I'm gonna arrive at the airport, and it's gonna be this like 6'6", like stocky man who's gonna be like, get in the car. No, but it was. This is actually important. I want to say this. It was cool because, of course, I was nervous. She was nervous, and funny enough, when I made it to the airport, it's a small airport in Santa Barbara, and the first thing I felt when I was at the baggage claim was her hugging me from behind, and instantly, like right then and there, we both knew. We were like, "Yeah, this is gonna work," and so it was everything that we had said we would wait for before we declared a relationship. We had totally, just in that one hug was just like, yep, we're good. And it was from literally like, I think less than an hour or two later, we went out to lunch, and I was like, yeah, so like, let's make this official. Like, let's agree to this.
No, I'm just making sure, because I was thinking about like what you said. Let me make sure Alex was an adult when this happened. If you are a teen, it is not a good idea to go meet up with somebody online. Okay? It worked out in this case. But if you're 14, 15, no, do not do that.
I am an adult in my 20s. I have an income and people who knew where I was going. You are a teenager. You cannot do what I did yet.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that was clear. That's it.
Yeah. That's a good disclaimer. But yeah, so it was cool because that was our relationship for a while. Was one of us would fly out each month to see the other person, and it would be for a couple days at a time, and a lot of it. And I think for me that was good because especially when I was younger, I struggled with physical affection and lustful behavior and things like that. And so having a literally 3,000 miles between us regularly definitely kept us in check. And so it really wasn't until the pandemic hit where we zeroed in on one location together. We both stayed with her mom over in Colorado. Actually, her mom lives in Wyoming, which isn't that far from Colorado. But so
we went to go visit Kanye.
We did go to visit Kanye. we went out to, he's got what, a ranch out there or something like that? We went out to Yeezy Ranch.
In fact, actually, the reason why Kanye is Alex's fault. I'm just saying.
It is my fault. I'll take that 100%. But yeah, so I mean, my point in this isn't so much to give you the full story of my relationship, but just to let you know, like, it's, you know, each relationship is unique. It's going to be different. It's going to look different. And that's okay. You know, really, when it's the right person, you're going to be willing to make those changes to your life. Like, I never thought I would date someone 3,000 miles away from me regularly. And I did. And now I'm marrying her. And yes, she is here in Brooklyn. She is, you know, she followed up on what she said. I gave her a reason.
He gave her a reason.
I gave her
some clap emojis in the comments for Alex giving a reason.
I gave her a ring, and that got her.
Well, that's definitely a reason.
But yeah, so I think, you know, you'll get out of a relationship kind of what you put into it. Usually, you know, if you put in that effort and you put in that love, even if the other person doesn't reciprocate it, you'll walk away being, you know what? I gave it my all, and I've grown from this. And that's something I think you can be proud of regardless.
That's dope. That's dope. So I guess recap, looking back at all that. One, have good friendships first, right? Be open to being humble, laying down your life, and being open to God in the process. Oh, there's something real quick that you said earlier that I think you should end on that note that you said earlier. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the things, it's funny, guys, because obviously Brandon and I, you know, we talk a little bit before we shoot all this. Sorry. But one of the things I mentioned to him, I wanted to actually tell you guys is, so when we talk about relationships, of course we talk about friendships, we talk about romances, we talk about family relationships, professional, etc. I can go on. But let's look at scripture for a second, and let's see where this actually all begins. And I think one of the common places we like to go to is Genesis, when God has just made Adam. Adam is chilling in the garden, and God says, you know what? It's not good for man to be alone. Let us make him a helper.
Let me make sure I say this. Someone pointed this out to me. Up until that point, everything God said was good.
Yep.
He create this, good.
Yep.
Make the sky, make the sun, make the fish, make the animals, make the trees. That's good. First thing that's not good, it's not good for you to be alone.
Yep.
So,
exactly what God says. And in fact, even with Adam, when he actually makes man, it says this in Genesis 1, I believe, right near the end of the chapter. He said, you know, and God made man and woman in his image, and he said it was very good. And so God even makes an emphasis on how much, creation, how much better. No.
In the Hebrew, Tov Me'od, which like is more than very good. That's it's like the greatest thing you can imagine, like in the original language. So
but so to bring it back, so God, you know, makes Adam, and he says it's not good for man to be alone. Let us, you know, I think he says it's either I think he originally says let us find him a helper. But someone can fact check me on that. It might be let us make him a helper. But basically, Adam starts going through the process of he's naming animals. Like, that's what he does. God is like, okay, you know, here's this thing. What do you want to name it? Dog. Here's this thing. What do you want to name it? Cat. Here's this thing. What do you want to name it? Giraffe. Like, he's going through the process, and Adam's trying to find, you know, basically a companion, something to have a relationship with. And it's not until, you know, he's gone through this whole process where God basically lays him down to sleep, and then from his own, you know, rib creates Eve. And I think sometimes, you know, when we first hear Adam's response, which is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh at last, we sometimes think it's this we associate with a romantic quality where he's seeing a woman for the first time. He's like, this is amazing. This is, you know, a woman. Oh my gosh. But the way I like to receive it, and the church fathers even kind of addressed it, is it's actually an existential cry where, of course, Adam has the animals, Adam has God, but for the first time in his life, he's seeing someone else like him.
That's good.
He's seeing someone else, another person who shares qualities and traits with him that are unique to us as human beings. And he's like, I'm not alone. I have what I've been made for.
Cue Michael Jackson. You're not alone.
Oh my God.
I am here with you. R.I.P. MJ.
Oh, geez. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted on that.
I mean, I don't
Yikes.
think. Yeah, no, we'll be good.
They're going to be hunting you. No, but so it's that existential answer of, it's proof that we're not made to be alone. Adam's cry of bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And of course, there's a romantic and a marital quality to it where, yes, Eve is, his wife, Eve is this person he obviously goes on to have relations with. And so we see, of course, those things can stem from that existential cry, but who gave him the answer? And that's what we have to actually ask ourselves. Well, who answers that cry? Who made Eve? God.
Yeah.
And so who gave Adam the answer? God. And we take that and we take it even further into our own relationships. Okay, I'm looking for my spouse. I'm looking for this person. Who's going to present them before me? God. I'm looking for good friends, for friends who are going to call me to do what is good and right. Who's going to lead them into my life? God. I'm looking for family. I'm looking for people who I can, even if they're not my blood, I can call them my blood. Who's going to give them me? God. And so when we talk about relationships, this is the most foundational thing. If you don't have a relationship with the source of all relationships, they can be good. They can be, they can be good. They can be fruitful, but they won't be holy. Ooh. They won't be something that actually, I would argue, can sanctify each other. Because if there's no God in the midst of it, it's hard to bring about that grace. It's if there's not an openness to Him. Yeah. And so by having that first relationship with Him, and this is something I actually had to do for, and it's funny, I did this with my relationship with Taylor, which is before I even met her, I said what I said, which is, God, I'm going to stop pursuing women because I understand for me, it's a distraction from my mission. So if you want me to be with someone, you have to lead them to me. And it's exactly that process of letting go of an attachment to an ideal or to a want, and letting your only want and need become, I want to be in a relationship with you, Lord. I need to be in a relationship with you. So that's something I wanted to mention. I want to make sure it came across is, in all these, we've had, I think, a pretty good conversation about relationships and romances and friendships. But the first one you have to have, even if it's not great, even if it's struggling, you have to have a relationship with Him. You have to. And the great thing is, He always wants one. Facts. He does. He's always open to it.
in God, the Trinity is a relationship in and of itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right. So thank you guys for this. We're going to keep going through this throughout the weeks. As you can tell, we can keep vibing and going for a long time.
For real.
Make sure y'all take some, write some things down. Let us know, were there things that stuck out to you?
Tattoo it.
Are there things that are important? Wow.
Don't.
Are there things? Yeah. You're going to get us in trouble, especially with these Latino parents over here.
Yeah.
But no. If if there's anything that stuck out to you, make sure y'all write it down. If y'all got questions, y'all know y'all can hit me up. I can bring Alex in. Maybe if y'all want to dialogue with him on one of our Zoom calls or something. But thank y'all, and we'll keep going with this next week. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.
Peace.
Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
Hey guys, so my name is Janet and I'm back with you guys again this week. And this month, this series is Spreading Love the Brooklyn Way. Jesus said to lay your life down for someone. So we want to challenge you this week to lay your life down for someone. Sacrifice a little bit of you, just a little bit. Whether it's a small or big sacrifice, but do it. Something difficult, something challenging, something that's going to take you out of your comfort zone, something that's going to shake you a little bit, right? That's what we want you to do. We want you to challenge, because Jesus said to lay your life down for someone else. Just to show someone else that you love them. Some examples you could do is buying someone coffee, buying McDonald's for somebody, or cooking a nice meal, washing dishes, washing their clothes, cleaning up the house, giving the baby a bath, anything, but showing a little love to the person that you pick this week is going to be important. Point blank. Show love the Brooklyn way.
Hey everyone, it's Vanessa with this week's announcements. As you guys already know about mass schedule, but I'm here to remind you. On Saturday at 5:30 we have a bilingual mass. Sunday at 9 a.m. we have an English mass, which is also live streamed. 11 a.m. in Spanish. Mass is also live streamed. And then a 1 p.m. Mass in Spanish. As you guys all know, Lent is quickly approaching, so we have about 2 weeks till Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday is the 17th of February. We will be having 3 services, 2 masses and a service. So at 8:30 a.m. we will have a bilingual mass. At 3 p.m. just this service, and at 7 p.m. we will have another bilingual mass. The 7 p.m. mass will be live streamed, and as you guys may or may not know, this year, due to COVID, the way we are giving out ashes is instead of normally we would do the sign of the cross on your forehead, we are sprinkling them over your head. Believe it or not, it's actually a common practice used throughout the world. So that's what we'll be doing this year. Continue to pray for our parish, continue to pray for Father Brendan and all the parish staff. And as always, we continue to pray for you. God bless.
Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys next week as well. And don't forget that you guys can join us afterwards with our Zoom link. If you need it, just text the number down below and we will send it to you. Hope you guys stay safe. And before we end off, I'd like to pray real quick. So in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to do these virtual charlas, for allowing us to reach new people that we may have never met before. And may we just continue to grow in our spirituality and grow in our faith. And with that, I'd like to pray. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hope to see you guys next week. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Just wear your mask. And spread that Brooklyn love. Peace.
I'm a big, 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 big,